Could I ask Go to open us in prayer, please?
All right, please join me in prayer this morning. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you've given us. We thank you for the bountiful rains you provided us. We ask that you watch over those that were in harm's way and help with the reconstruction of some of those devastation of those homes. We ask that you continue to watch over those in need. We ask that you also watch over each and every one of our families, our city, and what we have to decide on the agenda items for today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now go to public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, begin by stating their name, and limit remarks to less than 3 minutes. Board members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda. The board takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Do I have any public comment this morning? I see none. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Consider approving the April 24, 2019 meeting minutes. Consider approving necessary corporation disbursements. Consider approving the April 2019 financial statements. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval of consent items A, B, and C.
I'll second.
Motion by Director Dendel, second by Director Freeze. Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on, regular agenda. Consider a resolution of COSA DC Board of Directors authorizing the use of sales and use tax funds in the amount not to exceed $60,000 to provide an economic development incentive to Jack P. Graves and Kimberly D. Graves, DBA Jay's Deer and Wild Game Processing, for a project related to business enterprises that create or retain primary jobs as authorized for a Type B corporation under Local Government Code Chapter 501, Subchapter C, and authorizing the Director of Economic Development to prepare an economic development performance agreement with Jack P. Graves and Kimberly D. Graves, DBA Jay's Deer and Wild Game Processing, in compliance with the Development Corporation Act in a form approved by the City Attorney's Office, authorizing the COSA DC Board President to execute said agreement and related documents, and recommending to the City Council ratification of the incentive and approval of the Economic Development Performance Agreement. Presentation made by Ms. Shannon Scott.
President Coles, if I could recuse myself from this line item.
We would appreciate that. Morning.
Thank you. As President Cole stated, this is in regards to a resolution for approving a business retention and expansion project for Jay's Deer and Wild Game Processing. So just to give a little background on what the company does, so they are currently in the business of providing custom processing and taxidermy services for wild game. So part of their expansion would include a new ready-to-eat meat facility, which would include things like sausage, brisket, beef jerky, etc. And their plans are to build a new 5,000 square foot facility at their current location over off of 277. So they currently have 4 employees, and in order to, with the anticipation of the expansion, they plan on hiring at least 4, but up to 15 additional employees within the next 3 years, with those employees having an average salary of $35,000. Again, they're anticipating expending up to $350,000 for that construction of the new facility, and roughly $200,000 for the equipment in order to infill that new facility for the equipment needed in order to accommodate that type of ready-to-eat meat facility. So their total capital investment with the new facility and the equipment is going to be $550,000. So again, what we do, of course, with every project is we run each project through our economic impact analysis to gauge a return on investment. And in this particular case, we are able to grant them $45,000 for a capital investment grant once that $550,000 has been made for the construction of the new facility, as well as the investment in that equipment. Part of that agreement is that they must retain their current 4 employees. And then we can offer them $1,000 per full-time equivalent for up to the 15 jobs. So with the $45,000 in capital investment and the $15,000 for the job creation, the total incentive would be $60,000. And again, as always, the capital investment has to be made first before we expend any funds, as well as the hiring of the employees. They have to hire those before we can actually pay for those employees. So again, just to gauge our return on investment, the economic impact, we're anticipating $10.8 million in annual economic output over the next 10 years, $3.7 million increase in gross annual product annually, with a payback period of 5.9 years. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the board? Any discussion? Sounds like a good deal. I have had Jay's beef jerky. He's going places, so. All right, I will entertain a motion. Coelho, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Can we leave him back there? Moving on to line item B, consider a resolution in support of the service of Guy Andrews, Director of Economic Development for the City of San Angelo, on the Permian Basin Freight Advisory Committee established by the Permian Basin MPO and finding a benefit to the corporation. Presentation by Guy Andrews. Good morning.
Thank you, Board. Guy Andrews, Director, Economic Development. The Permian Basin Metropolitan Planning Organization through TxDOT is undertaking a study for freight mobility in the 24-county region. Obviously, this slide does not show the 24 counties. However, a very astute judge over there for Ector County, Judge Debbie Hayes, realizes the impact that San Angelo has on the Permian Basin and the way that the Permian Basin impacts San Angelo, so has asked me to serve on that committee. I have told them that I would need the resolution through both COSA DC and Council to be able to serve on that committee, but I've also recommended to them that they include San Angelo in Tom Green County in that study if they're able to do it. So that's still under consideration. First meeting of this advisory committee is going to be on May the 31st in Odessa. So be glad to entertain any questions about this study.
I'm assuming you feel this is beneficial to you.
Yes, well, it's beneficial to our area, especially with the impact that the Ports to Plains and the I-14 are going to have. All of those actually sort of go through the Midland area and that sort of thing. So we definitely have an impact. It has an impact on us.
Sounds good to me. Any other questions, concerns? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Roscoe, do I have a second? Second by Max. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Line item C, semi-annual update report for the Business Factory Business Incubator Program. Presentation by Dave Erickson. Good morning.
Good morning, Board, and thanks for having us here. With me today is Simba Chavanduka, who's our graduate assistant, and I'll introduce him in just a minute more formally. Go the other way? All right. There we go. Thank you. Again, Dave Erickson, Director of the ASU Small Business Development Center, here today to present an update on the partnership between SPDC and COSA DC on the Business Factory, Business Incubator, as requested by the board. And so we're here today to present that. Just want to talk about the progress of the partnership. As you can see through the visual there, this illustrates how the partnership works. We provide marketing, recruitment, and ongoing business advice and training. And we kind of coordinate the advisory panel for the Business Incubator. And then we do that helping us through ASU graduate assistance. And then On the Costa DC side, the owner of the facility developed the agreements and contracts, monitor performance, and then, of course, repair any equipment or facility. Client intake progress, we work closely with Nora at Costa DC. We meet on a regular basis, and in this process, we have revamped client policies, tours. We give tours and the application. We put all that online. Of course, it was in coordination with the city legal department and Dan. And so here's an example here, snapshot of the application that's on the website. Make it easier for clients to apply and for us to get those applications and evaluate them. And again, besides us evaluating the applications, to go before the advisory panel for approval. We're building the hopper as far as the client intake. We have 4 or 5 people in the hopper. We're working with them right now to see if they're still interested. We do have one office that's available due to a recent graduation. All the other offices are occupied, with one client having 4 offices. The goal here is to always have the offices occupied, and that's our goal. The one office has been empty since May 1st, so just a short time. As I mentioned, I want to introduce Simba Chevanduka, who's handed out. Where is Simba? Come on up, Simba, if you would. Simba is our primary MBA graduate assistant at the SBDC, who's worked on the business factory. He does other duties too, but primarily the business factory work. And so he's always assisted me and Nora on workings of the business factory. Kind of assisting him is Blake Harrison, who's a new graduate assistant. He's also assisting. We have a crop of a couple new graduate assistants coming in the fall. And Simba will work with them in transitioning because Simba graduates in December, right? So Simba will transition those new graduate assistants over to the business factory help and get them on board. So we appreciate the work that Simba has done. You can stay here. Yeah. Kind of marketing that we focused heavily on marketing and working with Nora and revising the marketing plan. So the web page has kind of been redone, getting the application and the admission policies online, and also the tour they can access and ask for a tour. The brochure, Simba handed those brochures out. That was a collaborative effort with the SBDC staff and Nora to work in Costa DC staff to work that out. Includes a price card so people can easily see what the price will be for the various offices. Created a pull-up display for use in our going around and talking about the business factory. We can carry that with us, and it's very nice, and did a great job on that. We have ongoing TV, radio, Civic Club, ASU department group presentations to highlight the business factory. We've done a number of those, and we continue to schedule those to continue that effort of the awareness campaign of the incubator and purposes and the results of having people in the incubator. Newspaper articles, social media efforts, and then, of course, prospect tours, as we mentioned. Those and others are all parts of our marketing plan for the business factory. We also wanted to initiate celebrating success of our clients, and our most recent graduation was Odom RD. They created the open office May 1st. We had a great graduation reception for them, and you can see in these pictures indicative of the crowd that was there. The mayor, we're happy the mayor was there to congratulate them as well. You can see the pull-up display in the background there. A great crowd, and there was an after party at Raw 1899 as well. Odom RD had lots of their friends and relatives there. So we also recognized other graduates in the past few years, Angelo Solutions, Angelo Titan, and BEPC all graduated. We had some nice plaques for them as well. So we'll continue this as we have successful graduations. We want to celebrate success of our clients. And, the whole program is really to increase economic development in San Angelo through business development, And that's the purpose of the whole program, and some intense advising and training and encouraging and listening to and things like that that go on with business incubation. So in client experience, we have the advisory panel, CPA, attorney, a lender, and a small business owner are on the advisory panel, as is SBDC staff and COSA-DC staff. We've kind of reworked the reporting for clients at those advisory panel meetings. We continue with the technical business advice through SBDC advisors, and then technical business training, which we do at the SBDC. And we're going to have some special topic training for current and past incubator clients, some specific topics for them that they would like. And we work with the advisory panel on producing that. So I think our CPA is going to do the first one. We haven't scheduled it yet, but we will schedule that with her and give those folks some special topic training just for them. And entertain any questions you may have. Thank you for listening, and answer any questions you have.
Any discussions, any questions from the board? Yeah.
Can you tell me what the hopper is again?
Yeah, the hopper is just those clients who are interested. We call it the hopper. They've expressed interest, they're in there in the hopper, and hopefully they'll pop out when we need them to. And we've used that term a long time, but that's basically what it is. So it's that group of people who may be interested in coming into the incubator. Yeah. So
I'd like to acknowledge Nora Navarez' excellent work that she's done in this. She's very proactive. She's taken ownership of this project in adding value to the process and that sort of thing. So I know that Dave especially enjoys working with her on this, and business plan competition and other things she's involved in. She's the type of person you can just point her in the direction and off she goes. And again, adding value is what it's all about, and constant process improvement. So thank you, Nora.
Thank you very much. One of the things I wanted to let the board know is that with this partnership, I feel that it's been a benefit, absolutely a benefit for the business factory. So I appreciate all the work that Dave and his staff, but most importantly, having Simba as well. I believe in that, having an AUC student being a part of this. It's a wonderful opportunity for them. So as Dave mentioned, we had Odom RD graduate, and we had a reception for them. So Odom RD, they sent a card to the board, and so I wanted to read that to you. Just short and sweet, but it said, COSA DC team, what a fun ride. This was an amazing experience. Thank you for picking us and believing in us. We are forever grateful. Thank you. As you may recall, Odom RD was our first place winner for the business competition in 2016. So they have really blossomed. So they just wanted to make sure to just say thank you again. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Norm. And I would like to congratulate the young man on graduation. When did y'all say that was? December? What is your major?
Getting my master's, MBA.
Well, best of luck to you. Thank you. You're welcome. Anything else? All right. Thank you, Dave.
thank you all very much.
Moving on to D, consideration and possible action on proposed restated COSA DC bylaws. Presentation by Guy Andrews.
Oh, yeah, we've carried out some, primarily through, again, Nora and through our Deputy City Attorney, Dan Soluri, some changes to our bylaws. These are mainly administrative in nature. Some of the things we've done is to update ex officio member organization titles. We changed the annual meeting date to May to coincide with our annual report. We made some corrections to the secretary's duties in there. And then Dan especially has gone through and eliminated some redundant provisions between the bylaws and the state laws or in our local laws. So we're recommending this for approval. Be glad to entertain any questions you might have.
Mr. Andrews, we've been working on this for a couple of months. It's just basically a cleanup of our bylaws over the past few years, something we probably need to address, and now finally got it done.
Yes, sir.
Basic cleanup. There's not any major things that we need to.
Nothing major.
Do we have action on this?
Yes. Need motion for approval.
With that, I'd move to approve the
Director Dendel, do I have a second?
State of Costa DC bylaws.
Dr. Cummings, any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on, line item E, consider resolution authorizing reimbursement to the city of San Angelo for purchase of one pickup truck in the sum not to exceed $35,000 plus associated costs for city administrative services necessary for oversight of subdivision development of the city of San Angelo Business and Industrial Park and other current and planned corporation incentive city projects, site visits to private incentivized projects, and participation in authorized economic development, promotional, educational, and other necessary corporate-related activities. Presentation by Guy Andrews.
Thank you. I think having a vehicle for the COSA DC staff is something that's been in consideration for a period of time. There's some activities that are going on now that I think that make it necessary for us to purchase a vehicle. What we're looking at is actually a pickup, and one of the main reasons for that is one of the main uses will be for Mr. Schneeman to go and supervise what will be going on with the expansion of the industrial park and trips out there. Currently, he uses his own vehicle. He has not applied for reimbursement, although he could get mileage for that, but there's a lot of wear and tear that goes on in vehicles. Also, with the expansion of our business retention expansion program, Shannon is often utilizing her own vehicle to make those visits, so that would be another use for that. Site visits by prospective companies can also be utilized wherever COSA staff is working with Mr. Looney to take those prospects around. And there's also some staff travel that's involved with training, our involvement with Ports to Plains, Texas Midwest Community Network, the High Ground of Texas, and other events. And we do have money in our budget for this. I'll be glad to entertain any questions you might have.
Question?
I have one. With the amount of travel that's going to be imposed with one vehicle, I foresee overuse and probably recurring need to update. So do we have any provisions for long-term contract with the dealers in San Angelo to give us a cut price if we're going to come back to them, say, every 2 or 3 years?
All of this is actually handled through our automotive operations organization, and they maintain the vehicle on an ongoing basis. And so at a point in time that we felt like we might need to replace that, they would handle those negotiations and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. It becomes part of the fleet.
And is a pickup truck what you feel is best?
What we're looking at is
an Expedition or something like that? Suburban
might
or
be a better idea.
typically, we think that the Ford F-150 with the extended cab is adequate for what we need to do in that, and is a good utility vehicle. There may be times, too, that we need to haul a few things out in the industrial park, so we felt like that was the best one. We originally looked at a small pickup, which I suggested that we go to something bigger just because of the wear and tear on that. In terms of travel, too, I'm not sure we're going to get that many miles on it. Typically, when I go to a training event, I take my own vehicle and are reimbursed for that type of mileage. But as other staff members attend, it's better for them to utilize the city vehicle.
This, just for clarification, this is for a four-door, basically crew cab type pickup.
And it's also a little above the sort of basic model with roofs and all that. This has carpet and everything, with an eye towards being able to have something reasonably comfortable to haul potential clients around that come into town. And I dealt quite a bit with our fleet manager, and we sort of felt this was the best sort of all-around solution for everything we're trying to do at this price.
I think it's long overdue, personally. But any other discussion, questions, concerns? And Schneeman is in charge of keeping it clean.
Right, he is not allowed, nor has already instructed him, he is not allowed to throw his muddy boots in the back of the, at least in the cab. You can throw them in the back.
Heard, understood, and acknowledged.
All right.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Freeze, do I have a second?
Second.
Director Boileau, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
You have something?
I was just going to say it may be a good opportunity. I don't know if you have any plans on putting any kind of decals or anything on it, but identifying it could be good marketing. Shannon uses it to meet clients or pick up clients. It might be, it might look good with some formal decals or some marketing opportunities there.
We are looking at, rather than having a city decal on it, the COSA DC decal for this particular pickup, yes.
Isn't this playing competition on the back tailgate?
If you'd like to have us wrap it and, we could do that if we can get it in that $35,000 price range.
There we go. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Guy. On item F, consider resolution authorizing the board president to negotiate and execute a professional services marketing and promotional agreement with McLaughlin Advertising to promote 2019 business plan competition in the amount not to exceed $5,000 and other promotional services upon request. Presentation made by Nora Navarez.
This one right here, well, there's no slide for this, but it's pretty much straight what you have before you. As the items states, it is a marketing opportunity for the business plan competition. It's been the same thing for the past, since 2016. McLaughlin has always been helpful with us, and this year we've made a little change, so we will have a billboard as well. So we're very excited about that. And also Stephen is really good and advocate about the business plan, and he also contacts the media because he has such a good relationship with them and is able to work and get us in-kind prizes for the business plan competition. So if you have any other questions or any concerns?
Questions, concerns from the board? I would entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nora. Now moving into closed session, executive session under the provision of Government Code Title V, Open Government Ethics, Subtitle A, Open Government, Chapter 551, Open Meetings, Subchapter D, Exceptions to Requirement that meetings be open under the following sections. A, Section 551.087, to deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the board is receiving from business prospects with whom economic development negotiations are being conducted, and discuss financial or other incentives relating to the following projects. Project 2019 S28, Project 2019 DB68, Project Chem 2. B, Section 551.072, to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiation with the third person. A vacant tract of land being 180 plus minus acres out of the J.C. Matthews Abstract 8071 Survey 0178, and being a portion of property identified as tax ID number 61-08071-0711- 000-00 located adjacent to the south right-of-way of FM 2105, approximately 1.5 miles west of Highway 277. We are now in closed session. It is now 9:27. We are out of executive session, moving on to line item 7, follow-up of administrative issues, which there are none. Announcements and consideration of future agenda items. Are there any? I see none. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Have a second? All in favor? We gone.
Pictures.